All right, so today we're going to dive into VR tokens to watch. We'll break down a lot of different projects for you, give you guys kind of a heads up on everything that's happening out there in the tech space. It's going to be a good one. I think you guys are going to love it. We also have our special guest in with Kyle Willson. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Part of this today we're doing, of course, brought to you by the Crypto Power Index. If you guys are not part of it, make sure and jump in. It's another place you can also get into a lot of our indexes around tokens, where we get into the altcoins, metaverse and gaming tokens. We do historical sentiment tracking there. You guys can, of course, join in. We do a bunch of things around the CPI dashboard, which is Crypto Power Index. All that good stuff. You get technical analysis and additional videos. So all you have to do is click the link down below and check it out. See if it's for you. All right, let's get into it. I want to welcome into the show Mr. Kyle Willson. Great to have you back in.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to be on and get into some tech today.
Yeah, last time I saw you, we were at Consensus, traipsing
Yeah.
the halls of Austin. It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great event and lots to go. Lots was actually announced out of Austin, so good to see how successful that event was.
I really liked that event. It was really good.
Mhm.
Let's get into it today. We got VR tokens. We led this out on our last video. We dropped this tweet. Coincidence is Apple trying to steal Meta's thunder. Obviously, this was the big, flow of what was happening out there. You had, the PlayStation launch. You had WWDC launch. You had MetaQuest going. Everything kind of happening all at once here in early June. And with that, the VR projects obviously are flowing out pretty heavily as well in terms of potential connection to blockchain. Let's kind of kick off the first of these, and I want to talk about Render in general. When you look at some of the things that are happening with Render, and this has been a token that we obviously have talked about before, the partnership with Apple, all of that going. Kyle, are you looking at Render differently now than, kind of what we are seeing, especially coming out of Apple now with potentially the launch of the VR headset?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with a company like Render and what they're doing and how they're using, GPUs to scale up the process of, games, metaverse, and what could be, I think their use case is exponentially going to grow, and the demand, especially as you see AI implemented with the acceleration of metaverse. I think those two combinations and are going to be, there's going to be a lot of demand there for, GPU compute power in the industry, talking about Ethereum and kind of how they've kind of orphaned off all these GPUs that aren't really producing anything currently, or maybe doing other things. This is a perfect use case for those orphan GPUs and computers and
Mm-hmm.
what have you. So definitely a solid use case from Render. And I think absolutely this is just kind of the beginning of what we could see and could witness in terms of their growth.
Render rolled out, of course, Pudgy Penguins, their recent, their involvement with the recent launch of Pudgy Penguins. And then we saw, of course, them skyrocket to #1 on Amazon, which is really cool because you got a digital and a physical, toy now that is really starting to kind of set the tone for what maybe retailers are going to be dealing with in the future. So I like that. And obviously, we've seen everything around Render itself that also relates to other GPU type systems. You look at what's happening with NVIDIA, all sorts of things. So if you guys are checking out, our VR list, don't forget that there's a lot around this that is also the tech that surrounds what's happening in this space. So you get into NVIDIA, Lightfield Labs, which had, their integration into holograms. A lot happening there with this. When you look at the tech space right now, Kyle, is there any one area that you feel like is really starting to separate, or do you think the VR AR play is going to be the point of differentiation for these tech companies going forward?
Well, I don't know if there's one breakaway right now. I mean, the obvious big player right now, and that everybody's going to be looking at is, obviously Apple and their mixed reality headset, and to see what they can showcase and what they can do with that. I do think that there's going to be some super innovative applications with those headsets, and I think that's going to reinvigorate the entire tech space as we're seeing stocks like NVIDIA, for example, just completely explode and lift the space because they know that, with companies like NVIDIA that obviously accelerate graphics already, are also a big player in the AI race as well. And so
Right.
it's kind of like lifting all boats in terms of the tech space. And we're about to witness, in my opinion, a big boom here in the not so distant future.
This is what we hit on the other day, is that this might be the iPhone moment of our generation. Many people may not even remember, when Steve Jobs went on stage and introduced that for the first time. This could be one of those events that we really see a next generation of compute going to devices that will be a little different than a handheld. So also on the list is Over. So Over we've tracked before. A couple of things, obviously, they're kind of a more of, it's not necessarily a perfect play from an AR standpoint, but they have been going up the charts. Let me see if I can pull up the trading view on Over. Let's jump over there. They had a little bit of movement here, and of course, short term. This is on the 4 hour. So, what are your thoughts on Over in general?
Yeah, in short, it's like a decentralized Niantic, if you will, and kind of what
Mhm.
their goals are trying to accomplish. The geo mapping in their own unique way, incentivizing people to go out there and use their phones to map and things like that. So I do find they're interesting. Their project is very interesting and what they're trying to accomplish because AR, I think, is definitely one of those disruptive technologies that when Apple showcases this and they continue to innovate, scale their hardware side, I think this could be a big player in the space in long run and how it is disruptive to society. I think once Apple releases this, things are going to be quite different moving forward as Apple, obviously one of the biggest tech companies in the world. So
Well, I think the key here with Over, remember, just be aware that Over themselves, not a high market cap, so that's one thing to be aware of if you're trading this one. In the past few days, you're probably, maybe if you did trade it, you're in a good position. Might be a good opportunity for an exit. Seek VR, let's go over to them. We've added them to our VR list. This one looks a little different to me in the sense of, is it a player or is it just kind of, cannibalizing what's happening in the VR space? What are your thoughts on Seek VR?
yeah, this one to me, it's not a very hot standout, but I could see this maybe being more of on the accessibility end, more so on
Mhm.
the like competitive, what people are really wanting in the future. But I could see this being more exciting for, again, accessibility in terms of
Yeah.
AR, VR.
We had them on our show back in the Metaverse run. So I don't know. Again, their market cap is the problem. It's just kind of been a little bit of a descending market cap. So just be aware of that. Our pick of the week, when you look at VR plays, is Wilder World, and just some of the things they've been able to do in a short period of time. When you look at this one, because Wilder World is a completely, I feel like, is almost a different look than when we looked at them last. What are your thoughts on Wilder World right now?
Yeah, it just seems like they are sticking to what they kind of initially stuck to, and which I think is that higher end, higher graphic type of a metaverse, if you will. And I think that's what they're going to be good and excel at, and kind of what sets them apart from the other platforms out there. So, you have racing, their cars, they look good. I mean, the actual assets look
Yeah.
very, very, very well done. So hats off to what they're doing in terms of the graphic side of things, and I think that's what is going to set them apart.
Yeah, if you look at their growth too, my gosh, goes back just to May 23rd. I mean, you're talking still about 45% right now on that. If you're looking at it as a token, and it's still, a little bit here, but I think again, we're getting a lot of market influence here, mainly because of Apple. Let's just be honest. You're talking about an 800-pound gorilla. If they drop a headset that is as sexy as I think they're going to drop, this is going to change the dynamics around how a lot of these projects are going to be moving forward. Plus, these guys never stopped building. I mean, they kept kind of trucking, and you can kind of tell with what we're seeing today versus what we saw in almost 18 months ago as well. Let's go over to Somnium Space. This is another one that's in our index. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, the quality isn't like the best, like top-notch quality, but I do see that they're building their own proprietary, system in terms of their headset. So I do like that in terms of what they're doing there. They are obviously, supportive of blockchain, and you can use it on your PC. And I've actually been in this one and played around with it, and they do seem to have some kind of the creators in there and kind of musicians and artists doing some things and events in there. So I do find this one interesting. It could have potential. I do keep an eye on this one in my, on the side just to see what they're doing.
Yeah, open source for Web3 could make a play into the Solana phone, so that would be interesting. Graphics aren't, perfect on it, but I get it. Sensorium Galaxy, that's another one we have on the list for potential index. And again, remember, guys, as we're giving you these, this is not necessarily us recommending them. What we're trying to do is give you an outline of what's happening right now, the companies and projects that are building around AR, VR, because this could be a big play, much like the AI tokens, if you think about it. We probably should do an AI token video, but what are your thoughts on Sensorium Galaxy?
Yeah, the accessibility on this one, and I believe they're developing their own AI, avatars and how you can immerse yourself with their persistent world, if you will. So again, kind of a different angle in terms of what they're doing in the metaverse. I think that with the rise of AI, I think we'll see more of this AI integration with the metaverse across different platforms. So this isn't too surprising to me to see Sensorium do this. I think we'll see more platforms integrate AI directly into avatars, and you're kind of seeing it already with sneak peeks in terms of Artifact and what they're doing with their avatars at NVIDIA's GTC event.
Yeah, music virtual concerts is really kind of their game. But the development's been a little bit slow, so that's something to consider as we kind of look at these projects. Because again, what you have to do really, if you're looking at trying to build a VR, and if you think about this, guys, when you're looking at plays on a lot of these projects, these are high risk, but the opportunity could be there, much like if you think about before we really saw Meta explode in early 2021, all of those projects that really started to take off, imagine if you were in there at that time. That's kind of where I feel like we are right now, is being able to identify some of these projects. Star Atlas, this has been around for a while. It's one that we've had on. We've put it in our metaverse before, our metaverse index. We're starting to maybe include this in the VR AR index itself. Your thoughts on Star Atlas?
Yeah, this one is in terms of capturing the imagination. I think that they have that down pat. I think people do want to experience this game, and the fact that they're building AR or VR rather makes it actually really attractive and exciting. I think, especially as obviously Apple, the 800-pound gorilla, about to drop their mixed reality headset, and this is going to raise the entire tech sector, in my opinion, as well. So I think we'll see more and more people kind of take the VR pill, if you will, and this is one of those games that they've done a good job here. It looks like in development on the VR side, and we'll continue to monitor what they put out. So we could be a ways until they can onboard a lot of gamers, but this is definitely a project I'm looking out for.
Yeah, good strong community too. I mean, overall.
Mhm.
So that's always beneficial when you kind of move to that next level. Vulcan Forged had a big event. We're starting to see, maybe are they piggybacking here on on this event, the cycle that's happening here in early June? Is this something we should be aware of, or worry or concerned about? What are your thoughts on Vulcan Forge as they start to kind of get more press out? They have a
Yeah,
lot of
I
people there
think
too.
that's not a bad strategy in my opinion. It's okay to kind of piggyback, in my opinion, or maybe get ahead of what's going on in terms of the wider tech space. But it just seems like they are compounding and building upon their prior successes or what have you. And of course, with you have Metascapes here, some integrations, and I believe as well. And it does look like they have possibly a creator economy attached to this. So this could be very good in terms of capturing a lot of the creators in the space. I am interested in this one and to see where they'll go in the Web3 space and the wider gaming space as a whole.
Yeah, VR is not necessarily their lead, but it could, maybe there could be a play here. The other thing is you got to consider right now is Kevin O'Leary is involved in this one as well. So I don't know if that's a red flag, or for some of you it might be. but O'Leary's involved. They had him actually at the conference, but not. He did a virtual tune in, and Scaramucci was there. So this was all the Vulcan 3, which was happening. Actually, I think today, most of it, we had some of our guys watching it from earlier. Let's talk about
Yeah.
Everdome and kind of jump to them. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and just on Vulcan, just to wrap up there, they did mention that they are going to upgrade their graphics and go even 8K, supposedly, is what Anthony was saying at the conference today. So
Yeah.
he's predicting a quote unquote Apple integration, but
Ooh.
again, could be speculation. But he did mention that on the panel.
Yeah, just to remember, Scaramucci and O'Leary, both big investors in this. So just,
Yeah.
for what it's worth. And Everdome also in there. We've covered this one before, also related to MetaHero. All this, some of these names you guys are going to recognize. But what are your thoughts on Everdome right now?
Yeah, this one looks like a higher end metaverse, and I'm not too familiar with this one, but I did see they had an integration with MetaHero, which again, some of these types of platforms that are going after the more high end graphics, I think will definitely set themselves apart, just because obviously that's just more immersive and people are excited about the higher end type of graphics typically. But yeah, I don't have too much thought on this one. I would like to see a little bit more. Obviously, the spaceport experience is just an alpha. Like to see them roll out a little bit more here.
Yeah, we had them also on our show back in the Metaverse runs. So you guys check out some of these because some of these we've had on here before. Speaking of that, Red Fox, we've had Benny on a couple of times. Actually, Ben Fairbanks, and actually 3 times. Actually, I'm looking here now. Three different shows that we talked. We talked a little bit about the MetaQuest. They actually had been doing some things, but I don't know. There is a potential here. The market cap is low. What are your thoughts with Red Fox? Do you feel like this is a potential? Just as a reminder, low liquidity.
Yeah, the low it's a low market cap, so it does have potential there in terms of growth. They've gone a little quiet here, but this one is interesting according to their post here. AI powered apartments and AI powered. You can
Right.
pick I think these up on like OpenSea for example. So again, another AI integration. This isn't too surprising. I think this is kind of helps in the direction of a persistent world, and if they can
Mm.
really drive that home, I think they could do well long term. So this is definitely one that I am watching on the side just to see, what they roll out and kind of the generate hype, if you will. I do kind of have that as a vanity metric, but we'll kind of see in on this one.
Yeah. Quite a few here, guys. And just as a reminder, we'll probably look at starting to track these a little different. So we've got render in here, over. We also had VRU in here, Cube, of course, Somnium, Wilder, Vulcan, CEEK, RFOX, and then Red Fox, Atlas, and then Sensorium. Those are the ones we have in it right now that we're looking at. Doesn't mean we're investing in these. It's just when we start to look and study these markets, we try to find out who the players are and where the potentials might be. Sometimes it leads to other projects that are partnered with or related to. Those are the ones we're really interested to find out as we go forward. Let's jump over to Amazon. Pudgy Penguin launch, very successful. Now, first digital physical toy with Amazon and really rolling out in the #1 spot. I mean, this has to say big success. What are your thoughts here of how Amazon might respond to this?
Yeah, I mean, this is no surprise here to me, and it's great for, I guess, the wider macro of Web3 space of what brands could do, launching their IP as Web3, then going mainstream, hitting platforms like Amazon. This is a good success. I mean, Amazon doesn't even have their NFT marketplace live, so it's kind of like a hint of what is, it's foreshadowing what is to come when they
Yeah.
launch in the Web3 space. So again, very good job for Pudgy Penguins. I'm surprised more projects don't do this, and it is good to see though that they did have a lot of success there.
Oh, I think there's going to be a lot of projects that go this direction now, especially toy companies that are struggling to get to the top of some of these categories. This may be their entree into breaking out if they've got good creative and they've got a decent product. Sometimes it's just hard to break into that business. So that's a good one.
Right.
Plus, I think you're just going to see more brands already that have started to figure this out. Nike set the tone for this, so it makes perfect sense for a lot
Yeah.
of these kind of concepts.
And it's just great for onboarding, mainstream users, average
Exactly.
people into Web3. So,
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Niantic fail. They were looking at going into launching an NFT platform. The game gets launched, then they bail on the NFT side, and then the game does a nosedive. Is this something that you feel like we're going to see more companies doing, or do you think we'll see companies starting to realize, okay, we just need to balance the two and make it a good marriage?
yeah, maybe a little bit of both. I think also the timing has a lot to do with it as well. Could they dip their toe into it? Is it the right time in terms of public sentiment around NFTs? So I think that's where the crossroads are at. I think we're at that crossroads. You're seeing more big tech companies implement NFTs and Web3 into their devices, like Samsung, for
Yeah.
example. So for this one, it not too surprising from Niantic to back away. I didn't expect them to roll out anything too soon, too quickly, but I think we will eventually soon enough. I have played Peridot. It's an interesting one. It's like the article says, it's not Pokemon Go exciting, but it is exciting to see them at least scale in AR.
If you think about digital pets in general, and you jump back to the success of Pudgy Penguins, and you look at a lot of the creative and the IP that is already being developed out there, and we'll talk about one here in a second. I mean, there's some opportunities here moving forward in a big way. I mean, we're going to unbox some Cryptoys at the end of the video today. So, but I think that kind of experience is going to change. I think it's going to change everything, Kyle, with the way, young, especially if you look at the Gen Z and also Gen A, the alphas that are younger kids that are starting to realize what this really means. Is there any other projects that you're watching right now that you're thinking, hey, this could be something to kind of keep an eye on, especially in the digital pet space?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a few out there. I'm really shocked, especially Illuvium. I think they have great characters. I don't know, if they've really focused on building that IP around their characters and their kind of animals, if you will, in their game. In terms of promoting them more and doing more with them, I think there's a lot of potential there left on the table that they could be kind of missing out on. You see a lot of these other projects again, like Pudgy Penguins. Even Bored Ape Yacht Club has done this, and again, like you said, with Artifact there's already been showcasing this kind of success around building avatars and around characters and these kind of pets, if you will. I think Petaverse is another one where they have some integrations there as well. So yeah, I think the sky's the limit. This is what people want. This is what gamers want. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see other projects really hone in on this.
Yeah, don't forget we had OnlyBots and Animus. This was Atari, Twitch NFT pals, pets, and then we had Wilder Beasts also. I'm just kind of looking at a line list of some of the things, and then also Claynosaurs, which was also related to potentially Solana. So, and if you look at the Saga, the phone, what that might look like in terms of housing NFTs in the future. So, very interesting for sure on how all of this is going to be playing. Illuvium we've had on the show a couple of times. And with Illuvium's scenario, I want to kind of hit on that a little bit because the Illuvium to me, when I look at their graphics, kind of what they've been trying to do, that would seem like a slam dunk. Or I mean, sure, it's expensive to kind of roll those out from a physical item. You've got manufacturing, you got distribution, but I would think now showing that something like a Pudgy Penguin that could have a huge launch here, this could be big. And then you see what Cryptoys is doing, so there's just a lot of opportunity. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's all about onboarding the average, mainstream user and kind of that specific strategy. What Pudgy did was good. You don't necessarily have to do a phygital, in my opinion. You could go, avatars or,
Right.
basically link your platform to other platforms where it's like interoperable. I think it's Claynosaurs right here showing, that kind of interoperability in terms of what they're doing with their assets. So yeah, I think Illuvium could do a lot more there in terms of interoperability and what they could do on other platforms, like with Claynosaurs, what they're doing.
Okay, you look at Solana. We're supposed to get a Solana phone in house. I'm hoping that they're going to go through with their promise on getting this one. But could they become maybe the new hub for AR and NFT, especially in the NFT space? Do you feel like that could be a possibility? Something like that?
Yeah. I mean, you're kind of already seeing it like with Phantom Wallet. I think, yeah, with Solana, their phone. I think it's a no-brainer in my opinion. This is where the direction of the space is going. We already see platforms out in Web3 that are kind of doing this, if you will. So I think this is just a no-brainer move that they should do and implement into their
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah, I think just Artifact's performance so far has been, exemplary in terms of just doing the right things, getting the right partnerships, obviously, but also understanding their new digital consumer. Because that to me
Mhm.
is kind of the magic that I don't think a lot of people really understand just yet, is the opportunity here that is really going to be playing forward when it comes to digital, especially AR, VR, playing into this within games, the interoperability, the potential of NFTs. There's just too much stuff crossing over now that's starting to intersect across the technology space, the IP space, all of that going forward, for sure. Hey, we're going to do some unboxing here, Kyle. I think we have a list. Do we have a list, guys, of the best potentials that we want out of this? And this is going to be a Cryptoys. So I think we're looking for, I know we're looking for some Leias, and we've got some other ones in there that we're looking at. There's a couple legendary spots that we're looking for. There's one Grail, I think, was in there that we were trying to grab. We'll see, obviously on the unboxing. And then maybe an Ultra Grail. We've got 5 to unbox, and our guys in the Crypto Pit are going to be playing it out right now. I think we're getting ready to unbox one, so we're going to start the experience. And this, of course, if you guys didn't watch our Cryptoys video, go back and watch it. It's a good interview. This is interesting. I like the digital experience here. This is kind of cool. All right, here we go.
Yeah, and that's a
Come on,
holocron,
baby.
I believe, as
Come on,
well.
baby. I feel like I'm at the blackjack table. Getting ready to get a hand. All right, what do we have? All right, so here we go. We've got Luke coming in. So Luke's, this is the farm boy. Okay. So that goes into our group, and we're getting ready to get to our second one. All right, here we go. Ooh, I feel like I'm in the movie. Tap, hold. Good experience. I still think this is. We saw this the other day when we had Cryptoys on, and this was kind of the cool thing, especially from a digital aspect. Kids are gonna love it. I think I actually collected it. All right, here we go. Bam. Oh, we got a Leia. All right.
Yeah, rare. Yeah, not. The cool thing about this is it's mimicking the physical side, so I do
Yep.
love what they're doing here. It really does feel like you're opening a pack, then it comes sealed in another package that you can, obviously keep sealed there, or you can open it and actually, basically use your toy, and in the future, they're implementing, again, I think they're gonna implement AI into some of these, quote unquote toys, if you will, and you can actually move around with them in kind of this like demo environment, and they also integrate play sets as well. So I find that interesting.
That's gonna be
Again,
huge.
and this could be a good type of scenario for the younger demographics in terms of adoption for Web3 companies like Cryptoys.
Yeah. All right. So we got Common. This is, of course, Luke. So 3 now. Let's get into number 4. And here we go. We got 2 Cryptoys left to open, starting the experience. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, and then too, you can actually break open that pack once it's revealed, and there's yet another animation behind that as well. So I've seen some really premium, collectibles
They
that
do a
people
good
have
job.
snagged, like the Anakin and the kind of the Ultra Grails, if you will. So and they're kind of lower edition in terms of, I think there's like 3,000 editions per character per
Okay.
commonality or whatever, or rarity, if you will.
All right. What do we get? Oh, Common. Yeah. Let's go. This is Leia. So we're grabbing a few. All right. So our last one coming in. Kudos to Cryptoys. I mean, they've done a really good job, I think, with the experience side of it. This is going to be pretty neat, I think, as they start to get the, especially the play sets. I think that's going to be huge. All right, here we
Yeah,
go.
absolutely. And I see that they've generated some hype around, some celebrities or tech celebrities, if you will. on YouTube. iJustine, I saw she was opening packs and partaking in the July 4th celebration. Really, they dropped these May 24th, but yeah, she opened some packs, so it was exciting to see other people.
We got to compare to what Justine did.
Yeah, head-to-head pack battle.
She did 5. We're going to go head-to-head with Justine. All right, so we got another comment. All right, so, well, there you go, guys. We just did an opening, a full opening experience with Cryptoys. That was fun. They're not sponsoring this episode. We did that on our own to give you guys some alpha to understand how this works. There's our list, and you can kind of see that. Justine had, let's see what she did. What did she have? She had a common. She got a rare Leia and a rare Darth. And then she got a legendary Leia and a legendary Leia. Oh, that's just not. But
yeah, that's hard to beat.
That's first editions, man. Those were what did she get? 1358 of 2000 and 354 of 2000 right there. So that was pretty good. And that was a first edition right there on Luke. Common 163 of 4000. So those were the 2 big wins for her, those legendaries. Well, you know what? We're going to have the PBN community help us. And maybe we'll get Cryptoys to give us some more, or maybe do some giveaways. I don't know. We'll figure something out to have some fun with this as it continues to do some interesting things. But make sure, if you catch this tweet out there, guys, hit the like button. Let's blow past iJustine for sure. I mean, come on. We are in the Web3 space. She's a great person, but, she's an iPhone person. Anyway. Kyle, it's been fun. Always loved kind of chopping it up with you. So thanks again for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to be on and talk tech.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, don't forget, I'd love to get your feedback. Do you guys want the VR tokens in the CPI? Is that something that you would like? Let us know drop in the comments down below. Make sure and jump into the Diamond Circle if you're not in. It's a great way to catch our additional podcast. Kyle and I do a podcast over there. All of that, Diamond Circle, click the link down there. If you want to catch me, it's out there on Twitter, @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.